Ballot protests blocked? Elections Canada under fire, Carney called out, Smith hits Bloc leader. As Canada approaches the pivotal Battle River, Crowfoot by-election, the political landscape is charged with anticipation and controversy. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre aims to reclaim a seat in Parliament after local MP Damien Carrec decided to step aside, following an impressive 82% victory in the last election. However, the Longest Ballot Committee is poised to disrupt this electoral process by introducing an overwhelming number of protest candidates. In a striking parallel to their previous actions in Poilievre's former riding of Carleton, where an astonishing 91 candidates cluttered the ballot, the committee plans to flood the upcoming election with as many as 200 candidates. This strategy, while aimed at drawing attention to the pressing need for electoral reform, raises significant concerns regarding the integrity and accessibility of the democratic process. By inundating the ballot with candidates, they risk creating confusion and making it increasingly difficult for ordinary Canadians to exercise their fundamental right to vote. This tactic has elicited strong criticism not only from political leaders, but also from Elections Canada, which has expressed its frustration over the current legislative framework that permits such disruptions. Elections Canada has been vocal about the challenges posed by oversized ballots, which now exceed a meter in length due to the influx of candidates. Chief Electoral Officer Stephen Perreault has repeatedly warned that this situation creates accessibility issues for voters with disabilities or literacy challenges. The organization has implored the government for legislative changes that would limit the number of candidates on the ballot, suggesting that electors should only be allowed to sign one nomination paper. Unfortunately, previous attempts to address this issue, most notably through Bill C-65, which aimed to enhance electoral participation, have failed to pass, leaving Elections Canada without the necessary tools to effectively manage the situation. In the midst of this electoral chaos, Mark Carney, the new leader of the Liberal Party and Prime Minister, faces mounting pressure to respond to public concerns regarding electoral integrity and accessibility. His leadership is crucial in navigating these challenges and ensuring that the democratic process remains robust and fair. Carney's administration must strike a delicate balance between the need for reform and the realities of a divided political landscape, where opposition parties, including Poilievre's Conservatives, are eager to capitalize on any perceived weaknesses. The political climate in Alberta is particularly charged, with fears of economic downturns and discussions around potential separation from Canada gaining traction. Premier Danielle Smith has been vocal in her confrontations with Bloc Québécois leaders, emphasizing the necessity of prioritizing Alberta's interests in national discussions. As the province grapples with job losses and economic instability, the stakes are high for both provincial and federal leaders to address these pressing issues effectively. Elections Canada has sounded the alarm on the ramifications of oversized ballots, noting that they complicate the voting process and hinder ballot counting, thereby undermining the democratic system. The current legislation, which allows anyone to run for office as long as they collect 100 signatures, has become a loophole exploited by the Longest Ballot Committee. A 2017 court ruling that struck down the $1,000 candidate deposit has opened the floodgates for anyone wishing to enter the political fray, raising concerns that this tactic is being abused to create chaos in the electoral process. Critics argue that the actions of the Longest Ballot Committee are not a meaningful form of protest. Instead of engaging in constructive dialogue, rallying outside Parliament, or organizing petitions, their approach appears to be about creating chaos within the electoral process. This behavior not only discredits their cause, but also makes a mockery of the democratic system designed to facilitate fair and effective governance. As the election draws nearer, the onus is on political leaders like Carney and Poilievre to address the fallout from these protests. They must communicate their visions for electoral reform and demonstrate a commitment to making the voting process more straightforward and accessible. The public is increasingly frustrated with political antics that detract from genuine issues facing Canadians, such as job creation, healthcare, and climate change. Many citizens feel their concerns are being overshadowed by the spectacle of protest rather than being addressed through meaningful policy discussions. Premier Smith's confrontational stance with Bloc leaders is indicative of a broader struggle within Canadian politics, where regional interests often clash with national priorities. As economic pressures mount, particularly in Alberta, the conversation around separation has gained traction, with some citizens questioning the benefits of remaining within Canada. This sentiment is fueled by concerns over federal policies perceived as unfavorable to Alberta's economic interests and the fear that the province's unique challenges are not being adequately addressed. In this divisive environment, the challenge for Carney and other leaders is to bridge the gaps between differing political ideologies and regional interests. They must engage with constituents in meaningful ways, addressing their concerns while fostering a sense of unity and collaboration. The future of Canadian democracy relies on leaders who can navigate these complex dynamics and ensure that all voices are heard, particularly those marginalized by current political tactics. The Longest Ballot Committee's tactics could potentially disenfranchise voters, leading to lower turnout and engagement during the election. If voters feel overwhelmed or confused by the ballot, it could foster apathy and disengagement from the electoral process. Elections Canada emphasizes that every Canadian deserves the opportunity to participate in democracy without facing unnecessary barriers, and the current situation threatens to undermine that principle. As the clock ticks down to the Battle River, Crowfoot by-election, the actions of the Longest Ballot Committee serve as a reminder of the delicate balance between protest and civic responsibility. Political leaders must prioritize the needs of voters and ensure that the electoral process remains a true reflection of the will of the people. The upcoming weeks will be critical in shaping the future of Canadian governance, as Poilievre seeks to reclaim his seat and Carney aims to solidify his leadership. The interplay of regional politics, economic concerns, and electoral reform will define the narrative of this election. By focusing on meaningful reform and fostering constructive political engagement, Canada can work towards a more inclusive and effective democracy, one that truly serves its citizens rather than complicates their ability to participate. The responsibility lies with both the leaders and the electorate to ensure that the democratic process is respected and upheld, allowing for a political environment that encourages genuine participation and effective governance.